Senator from Wisconsin.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate be in a period of morning business, with senators permitted to speak therein for up to 10 minutes each.
Without objection.
Mr. President,
Senator from Wisconsin.
I come to the floor today to pay tribute to an American soldier who has given his last full measure of devotion to this nation and to the noble pursuits of liberty and peace. 28-year-old Staff Sergeant Matthew Vail Thompson grew up in Brookfield, Wisconsin, and was a proud member of the Army Special Forces. Tragically, on August 23, 2016, he became the second American this year to lose his life while on combat duty in Afghanistan. Staff Sergeant Thompson was truly one of the finest among us. I had the honor of attending a memorial service for Matthew at his family's church in Brookfield, where hundreds of his friends and family members paid their final respects. They loved him, of course, but they also admired him. They told stories of a generous young man, adventurous, and always ready to make friends. His father spoke about, and his pastor read us, something Matthew wrote 10 years ago, a list of, quote, all the little things, unquote, that make life sweeter. In effect, 10 rules to live by. It shows striking maturity, especially for a young man still in his teens when he and his best friend wrote the rules. Now, the rules are actually quite deep, and there's an awful lot written, but I just want to read the 10 rules, the bullet points, and just refer everybody to my website where the full rules and all that he's written are contained. Rule number 1, never grow up. Number 2, number 3, never have any regrets. Number 4, live for the moment. Number 5, do what you love. 6, pursue with a passion. 7, never settle. 8, always take time to listen and to talk. Number 9, keep a positive attitude. And 10, I need God and will live for him. His father gave an extraordinary eulogy of his son, and he asked the congregation at the very end, he hoped the congregation would learn from what Matthew had written. Matthew began college at Marquette University in Milwaukee. In paying tribute to Matthew, one of his fellow resident assistants said, quote, he was one of the best human beings I ever knew, unquote. He transferred to Concordia University in California, where he earned a degree in theological studies and met his wife, Rachel. Rachel Thompson says Matthew was reluctant to date at first because of his plans to serve in the military. She said, quote, he knew he wanted to go into a really specialized, extremely dangerous job, unquote. His first thought was to spare her the possible pain. That danger was real. Staff Sergeant Thompson served as a medic with America's elite forces in hazardous places. He was first deployed to Iraq and then to Afghanistan. The mission he and his unit were on was considered to be, quote, non-combat, advising Afghan forces on how to free their country from ongoing attacks by the Taliban, Islamic terrorists who seek to reimpose their repressive rule. Their mission was non-combat in name only. But Staff Sergeant Thompson and his unit were patrolling, quote, outside the wire, unquote. They were exposed to every danger. They were patrolling on foot, looking for improvised explosive devices left by an enemy that seeks to kill indiscriminately. One of those bombs went off, killing 6 Afghan soldiers, wounding another American soldier, and taking the life of Matthew, a courageous young man who was defending the liberties on which this nation was founded, the liberties that our founders said are the birthright of everyone on earth. For 240 years, our servicemen and women have defended those liberties, and they have paid a very high price. Since the Revolutionary War, more than 42 million men and women have served in our military, and more than 1 million of these heroes have died in that service. Staff Sergeant Matthew's home state has done its part. Since statehood, more than 27,000 Wisconsin sons and daughters, have died in military service. Every one of us wishes they could have lived in peace, to fulfill their hopes and dreams, to enrich this country in ways that we'll never know. Every one of us is grateful that when freedom demanded such sacrifice, they stood on guard for America. A nation's gratitude can scarcely comfort those who love Matthew Thompson and who suffer his loss. His wife, Rachel, his parents, Mark and Linda, and his sisters, Karen and Robin, but also his extended family, his friends, and his band of brothers and sisters in the Army. Our hearts go out to them, and I pray that they will find consolation and peace in fond memories in spite of their loss. But a nation's gratitude, inadequate as it may be, is what Staff Sergeant do. Rachel Thompson recounted her last conversation with her husband. Because he knew he was doing dangerous work, she said, quote, "I was crying. I was afraid. And he would just listen and tell me he loved me and that it was going to be okay." Mr. President, for America, it will be okay, as long as men and women with the caliber and spirit of Staff Sergeant Thompson continues to stand on our behalf and defense of our freedom. May God bless and comfort Staff Sergeant Thompson's loved ones. May he watch over all those who answer our nation's call. May God bless America. I yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Alexander.